I will be playing the kobold this evening, just so you know, as I'm talking.
I can just come in periodically and just go.
Yes.
You gotta learn Morse code, do it, and then
Yeah.
in the background. on the podcast,
Help me, I'm being
help me,
I'm being kidnapped.
I'm being kept here against my will.
They forced me to do podcasts.
Welcome to On Gaming Podcast. I am your host, Galen, also known as Coleotron. Today I am with Ezra.
Ezra Twitch on everything. I've been playing a lot of, what's that game we've been playing? Player Unknown Battleground and MOBAs. A lot of MOBAs recently. Okay. And apparently my mic needs to be closer to my mouth.
Yep,
There you go.
suck it like a giant robot dick.
All right.
Go ahead.
This is Joe. I don't have a name because I'm not online very often, so you can call me
You're
Joe.
online now.
I'm
you have an
online.
Xbox.
Yeah, but it's a stupid name because I inputted the wrong fucking thing because I didn't realize you could input your name. Now it's $10 to change it to something legitimate. I am retard boy 565. I don't know why I'm in that, but that is currently what it is on Xbox.
Oh.
If you see me, do not talk to me. I will not respond to you because you're a complete stranger, and I appreciate stranger danger. Also, I am still waiting for my money on this one. Gravy Train to Nowhere, yes, still a thing. Get your shit together, Liz.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth, also known as Jinxie on the internet. I do art things on Tumblr and YouTube sometimes, and that's basically my shtick. I'm the artist.
Yeah. So today's topic, we're talking about character design and how to make it fun.
Yes, making an entertaining character, a fun character, a well-thought-out character, pretty much one that doesn't just sit at the corner of the tavern, brooding in the darkness.
Sitting in the five corners of the inn.
Exactly. Or the epic-level paladin that must always smite evil in the lands, born of nobility, has turned against his birthright, so he become the champion of goodness.
That's actually a really fun character if it's done properly, though.
I was gonna say neither of those characters are bad. Hi, phone. But neither of those characters are bad ideas in themselves. It's at that point it's all about execution,
Yeah.
and most people suck.
Yeah, I was going to say execution. I don't even say most people suck. It's just most people are inexperienced. Everyone wants to play their favorite character in some movie or fictional thing. And the reality situation is it works in books because it's the main character in the books. But in a RPG, even though you're technically the main characters, you're really not. Like, death is an option, and there's 4 other people who are also main characters. So it's not exactly this. You can't just you can't just be that cool dude out of X piece of fiction.
Yeah, so rather than probably like think of yourself as a main character, you should think of yourself as part of the main team.
Yeah.
But I want to be
A-team.
Batman.
A-team. Well,
I don't need no
I
team.
want to
Just-
be Batman.
just be Justice League Batman instead of Batman, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And I think that hits on a good thing for creating characters is you are not a hero unto yourself. Much like real life, you are nobody. You are part of a group that might be something.
It's interesting, actually, that you can tell that companies have hit on that, too, because, like, a lot of the newer systems coming out, Dresden Files, Cypher, more that I can name but can't think of the top of my head, have character relationships built into character creation, where you have, like, a certain amount of connections or... you like there's one that I see used a lot in all systems, which is each person has to be connected to two other people in the party, so everyone kind of already knows each other.
Yeah, we just did played some Hillfolk the other day, and that's exactly it. You all have to know each other in some kind of connection, and the connection is literally like the only reason I know one of the players is because I don't think she does enough to help out the tribe that we're in. I believe she could be doing more. Yeah, things like that. It's really interesting. And so when you meet in character, you already have that little bond going. So
Yeah, you don't even really meet in character. You meet off screen, which
Yeah,
is
you meet
honestly the
off-screen,
best way
yeah.
to handle it. If you want, especially if you have like a newer group, if you're introducing people to RPGs, do not introduce them to character creation first. Make like 10 or 11 templates and just kind of hand them out and be like, you all know each other from X. Or if you really want them to kind of play through the
Shadowrun, you've gone through a couple runs together.
if you really want them to play through the meeting thing, then you just drop them into something where there's no other way and they have to work together. But that can still be difficult if they're newer players and they don't have a reason, like because most people when they're first new to when they first start RPGs, they don't even really think about having reasons. They're just like they're in the world and they're like they can get lost pretty easy if they don't have like a guiding star.
On a kind of jumping off of that. By the way, Ezra, is that a new philosophy? Because I remember being thrown right into character creation for my first D&D game.
No, I actually
Oda.
I actually advised against it if you remember correctly. It's not,
I don't, but I
yeah,
had
yeah.
fun anyways. So
Yeah. No,
you made a flesh out
I gave you
paper
the
and everything.
option. I remember distinctly because that's not a new philosophy. It's been around since before I moved back to the hill, so like 2008.
okay, well, kind of jumping off of what you were saying earlier, there is also the idea of your first of the pressure of your first character needs to be amazing.
Yeah.
It's like no, they don't. In fact, I highly recommend.
What are you
that
talking
there-
about? Oda was amazing.
Well,
Oda
Here's
was
the
the
thing.
best.
Only in game after the game started, but she wasn't created.
She wasn't created to be amazing. She was actually
Yeah,
created to be a joke.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Which
yeah.
can be amazing. Yes, if you're making a character for the first time, make it a joke. That would be more fun
Yeah.
and entertaining for everyone else. Trust us.
And also, depending on what type of game you're playing, like be reasonable about your power level, right? Don't be the displaced general who's already been a veteran of 100 battles. If you're making a first level character, it makes no sense.
Tom was
What are you
fantastic.
talking about?
Thank you.
I made the best one. He just got drunk and forgot everything. It was
He got
wonderful.
really drunk.
He got
really
drunk all the
rusty.
time and forgot all of his past because he was just drunk, hammered all the
And,
time.
Yep. Well, that's one way of doing it. And if you role play him getting his skills back as him sobering up, that would be.
That's
really
what it was.
interesting
That's
as
what I
well.
did with Riley. Yeah.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
that's a
so
way you can make it
Don't
work.
take yourself too seriously. You're not in for a good time. Your party members won't be in for a good time. Mostly because they'll be dealing with the stuff you pull.
Yeah.
So for the 2 bits of advice, we have create the character as a group, not island unto itself, and don't take it too seriously. Would that be a good sum up what we
Yeah,
got so far?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're here to have fun, so make
Yeah.
your
Have
fun,
character as
yeah.
clueless
I mean,
as you are.
this is honestly kind of a difficult podcast because we kind of went over like bad characters in a previous
A
one.
little bit,
so
but
we don't.
it's okay. Delve into the bad characters. It's fine. That's always
That's
fun.
to say, well, I just originally repeat ourselves, but yeah. I mean, just as general advice, it's honestly, even though I hate doing it because I like to jump right into the game, the best thing you can do is devote your first game session, if you're going to be making characters, to just make characters. Don't think you're going to play. If you do want to play a game like on your first game session, the DM or game master should probably get together with people individually outside of the day and help them make their characters, one-on-one. If they're familiar with the system, also mailing lists are great for this, where you have everyone just mail back and forth.
That works, yeah.
Yeah.
And that way everyone shows up, they already know what they're doing, and then you can just kind of like jump right into the action.
Yeah. I'm starting to run a Dresden Files game. And I'm so happy people were enthusiastic. That enthusiasm kind of branched things off a couple times, and we didn't even get to finish making characters. We
Yep.
made the city fine, but
Yep.
character creation didn't quite get finished up.
Well, Dresden's kind of an exception too, because Dresden Files, you make the whole goddamn world with the players, so like you're pretty much
Yeah.
required to do character creation with
It's
the
like-
group.
It's
first
a session
time.
and a half before you actually get to the
Yeah,
game,
yeah, that's very true.
which isn't a bad thing. We
Yep.
used the Dresden Files system for a lot of stuff.
A lot
because
of
it's
stuff.
Really good.
It's really good. Yeah, it's really good. I've made D&D campaigns with it. I made Shadowrun games with it. Dresden games. It's a good system. What is that called anyway? It comes from
That's-
Fate.
It's the Fate system.
The mechanics itself aren't great. The advice for creating a world.
No,
or-
specifically, we're talking not the entire system, but specifically the creation, the way they handle world creation and character creation conceptually. Just that for where they have the city sheet and they have the axes.
Oh yeah.
It's like the Fate city creation or something like that.
that is
It's
fantastic.
great stuff.
Yeah, I think it's in that book. I think I saw it in the book that you just threw away because you found mold on it. It's $12, and I'm probably gonna pick it up. But it's all
Not that
about
one,
the
not
fate
the one with the
system.
mold,
Yeah, the fate system. I thought I saw it in that book. It had the character,
Yeah,
the
it
world
was-
Oh yeah, it
building
is.
in
Dresden is based off Fate. It's
Yeah.
just Fate.
Yeah.
With a little
But the
bit
book
of
is
twist.
$12, and I recommend everyone to get it.
just for that.
And
yeah.
then
Yeah,
Fate
just for that.
Accelerated came out, and apparently it fixes a lot of problem with the Dresden Files stuff.
That's good.
Oh boy.
Mostly in spellcasting and combat, which were the worst aspects of it.
So, what would be the first step to making an entertaining character, and how would you pretty much put that on paper? Would you give him like some kind of flaw? Would you make him some kind of actor or something like that? Give him a skill?
Uh,
That's kind of tough.
yeah, it is. I was gonna say, take something that you find, a character that you like, if this is your first character maybe, and then only take half of that because you want something kind of original, but use a base there. What I typically do is, once I find out what's going on in the world or what setting, I'll try to tie it into the world as great as possible. Then I'll give it a quirk and a flaw and just kind of roll from there.
I was about to say, one of the best things you can do, and your game masters will really appreciate it, because it'll make them feel as if they didn't waste all their time putting a lot of hard work in. If they're the type of gamer should put hard work in, which isn't all of them, myself included. But what I was going to say is definitely asking questions about the world, and then trying to think about what would exist in that world, and just playing something that would exist in that world can be a lot of fun. Whether it's this, maybe you're a slave from the gladiatorial pits in like a Conan game, but something that makes sense within the canon. And to do that, you have to ask a lot of questions about canon.
And that is absolutely true. It's nothing more frustrating from a DM standpoint. Well, there's a lot of things that are frustrating. But one of my personal pet peeves is along the same lines. It's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to play this game. Oh, yeah, so I'm going to play a fighter. I've played him 10 times before. He's from Neverwinter
Oh,
Nights.
man.
He belongs to the Harpers. Oh, there's no Harpers in this situation. Oh, well, I want there to be Harpers. No, we're playing in Dark Sun. There's no anything like that. Oh, okay. Well, what can he be? Can he be a LARPer? No, that's a different kind of thing. Let's talk a little bit later.
Yeah. I mean, even the stuff not even that complicated, right? Like, you might want to do a campaign where elves are extinct, right? For some in-game story reason, and because you thought it made the world more interesting. I mean, there's dozens of reasons you'd mess with the races, and someone else like, well, I still want to play an elf. Can I just be special? It's like the DM can work with you and make that happen, but it will kind of hurt the immersion that he's set up if everyone's doing that. And even if one person's doing it, it can be kind of annoying.
So
but I still encourage to ask, because I mean, a lot of DMs will work with you, and sometimes stuff can end up really good.
Cobalt wants to say a
Hello,
thing.
I just wanted to say that I'm very guilty of that. You see, my name's Cobalt, so I like playing kobolds, and I beg my DMs to let me play kobold when possible, because it just brings me so much enjoyment to play by my namesake. Now, if they don't let me, it's important to be like respectful and let that be the case, or just choose not to play the campaign if you weren't that interested in it in the first place. But the point is that you
Ask, but don't make
expect,
it. Yeah,
don't expect the
Ask,
DM
but
to
don't
just
expect.
let you do whatever you want. It's his world, not yours.
Yeah,
You're just
yeah.
you get to experience the
You're a
story
fish
that
in
he
his
set up.
pond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even say it's necessarily his role. I would just say it's his. The world is his responsibility, and maintaining, what is it when you're the immersion? Maintaining immersion is kind of the responsibility of the DM, more so even than the players. They have to put a lot more work into that side of things. And so if he thinks it's going to be too difficult on him, he might ask you to refrain from doing some crazy character choice, which doesn't make a lot of sense for the setting, which is fine.
So maybe for like the third rule, you aren't special. Don't make a character that's special.
You're not that special.
Well,
I actually, on that note, I did want to bring up that I think that when it comes to making a character, viewing yourself as part of the Justice League is only useful if you actually are in some way a special within the world. But
Yeah.
most campaigns that I play, and this might just be because of the DMs
You're part
that I
of
play
Justice
with,
League Unlimited. To be fair here.
most of the DMs that I've that have catered games that I've played have not made any of our party anything special within the world. You have to go out of your way to become something important, at which point just view yourself as a group of random dudes that view yourself as the group that the A team runs into, sees, and they're like, oh, who are those guys? Oh, they're just those other adventurers in the corner of the tavern, like, eating. Now,
That'd be fun to play a
you
B
can
team.
you can have like you can force your way into being the A team. Just don't view yourself as like
From the
God-given
get-go.
right to be that person
unless
from
that's
the
the
get-go.
setting, of course. I mean,
Yeah.
one thing about role playing is a lot of this advice. I mean, this is basic general advice for what I would consider the general types of games you run into, like just kind of the general style that people tend to do, especially because people haven't been role playing long, tend to follow the same paths. Not always the case, but very commonly. So I would say that, and there's an exception to all these rules, because maybe you are playing the A team. Maybe that's the whole point of the game, you know.
Yep, there's high-level campaigns.
Yeah, you're playing, starting at level 10 because you want to beat up bigger, stronger.
Well, a good example of the A-Team game, right, in my opinion, would be Aberrant from White Wolf, where everyone plays superheroes. You're way more powerful than everyone else in the world, basically, other than the other heroes, right? But you don't actually really fight supervillains. The whole game is about political intrigue. Because basically, once people start getting superpowers, all the world governments are just like, we're just going to pay you a lot of money to keep the peace. And like, why be a supervillain when you can just like kind of like sit on your ass and get $1 million for not causing trouble?
That'd be pretty great
Yeah, I'll take that.
and also very interesting.
Yeah.
So, I think one thing to keep in mind though is, apart from like commoner campaigns, when you're literally just a bunch
Oh,
of
I want
farmers
to play
that,
Common Campaign so bad.
that
Anyway,
picked
continue.
up like
You
a
hate them?
pitchfork.
No, I want to play one.
Oh
Continue.
man, I want to play one so bad.
Let her finish. Sorry.
Sorry, go
But the
ahead.
idea is that like your character is still exceptional within the world.
Yeah.
Just you're not the special.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't try to be the special. And I think one thing that kind of gets tossed off to the wayside, especially by new people or people who are just not quite experienced with different groups,
Yeah.
is that they think they are the special and kind of don't acknowledge the team aspect.
Yeah, yeah. That
Like
could-
there's been a couple times we've dealt with that,
Yeah.
and the party suffers the consequences,
yeah,
not
yeah,
the person.
Yeah, the party.
The
yeah.
party has to deal with it,
Yeah, yeah. By a couple times, I mean every game we play with Eric.
not Eric. Well, maybe Eric sometimes, but he makes it entertaining.
He does. He's community relief too.
And what does he do to make it entertaining? That would be insightful.
Yeah, let's actually talk about that.
Yeah, you know the subject
What
of the
would you do
podcast
to
today.
be entertaining.
I mean, I don't know. I don't feel like that's even really necessary because if you're into role playing, you're probably already entertained, in a sense. And there's some people who are just there for. I mean, there's a lot of people who don't necessarily want to be entertained. They're just there to be part of the group. I would say though, if you're gonna be playing role playing games, as just a basic courtesy, be interested in the game, right? Don't be on your cell phone. Don't be
Yeah.
doing other stuff.
Investment definitely helps.
That's the rudest thing you can do, right? It doesn't matter if you sit there quietly and you don't really, and you're just kind of watching the show and you don't really feel like participating that much, but you still enjoy the story and everything. But if you're just there because your buddy's there, and it's a thing you do on the weekends, but you spend 80% of the game like looking up for yourself and be like, what was going on again? Just go do something else, man. It's fine. No one's gonna be offended.
As an aside, that reminds me of one of my favorite horror stories from RPing.
Oh yeah.
Playing a Shadowrun campaign, and I was unemployed at that time. Fortunately, I got a job that required me to play on the day that we had set up because I did 2 sessions, and it was awful. It was me, a buddy, and then his friends, and it was with those. It was the husband and wife, and then the brother-in-law. Husband was the DM, and the wife was so dead-eyed as she played. She was on her phone, knitting to side to side. There's one opponent's like, "Honey, it's your turn to attack. What do you do?" I attack. Okay, roll your dice, sweetie.
Ugh.
Deafening
man.
as a dice clatter on
Oh,
the tabletop.
man.
That's terrible. Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know if this is gaming advice, but as a gaming person, I would say good relationship advice is it's cool if your significant other is into the same stuff you're in, especially when it comes to gaming. But if she or he is not, that's cool. Just they don't have to. I mean, it's cool to have different interests in a relationship. And as a matter of fact,
Oh, yeah.
I'd say it's vital, honestly. But yeah, that's the worst. Someone who just doesn't want to be there and is there as a courtesy, like. If you don't really want to do it, man, don't do it. I don't like.
The thing is,
Well,
like,
I'm a bad example because I pretty much like everything. But there are things I'm sure I hate to do, and if I was invited to do them, I'd be like, nah, that's cool.
yeah, it's almost more insulting if you're there but you're not present.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like at that point you're kind of getting in the way.
I wouldn't say assaulting. It's just disrespectful, right? Like it's a fun thing, yes, but especially when it comes to role playing, game masters have to put a lot of work into it. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of like real paperwork, they like homework. You know, to make this experience for their friends, and if you aren't interested in the experience, it can come off as
Joe
really
pulling out his phone, not being interested
really
in the
kind-
podcast.
Oh, I'm sorry. What are we doing?
really
Something?
kind of can be like
are we-
really kind of a dick
Oh,
move.
I'm sorry.
Anyway,
That's,
kind of
Not
off topic
cool,
from
bro.
characters though. But yeah, I don't know. The thing is there's so. I mean, everyone's different, so it's hard to say what works for us is necessarily going to work for everybody. But I still think good advice is good advice, or what I hope is good advice.
yeah, I hear you. But the point that I wanted to get back on topic a little bit is with Eric's character. What I found was super entertaining with that one character.
Which
is-
one?
TX.
So many anecdotes.
TX rules.
Okay, so just for a little bit of background for people who don't actually know what the hell we're talking about, TX was a character our friend Eric played, and this was the first rogue that Eric had ever played.
Yeah, he'd only played barbarians up to that point, which is actually a good thing. We can talk about that later, but continue.
Okay, so he played the rogue, and he made him so dastardly, so backstabbing.
he's
But he still had reasons to work with the group, so that wasn't an issue. But it was so much fun to see him off to the side, like kind of doing his own
Passing
things,
notes.
passing notes to the DM. It's like, hey, buddy, what are you doing? Oh, nothing. Mind your business, man. It's cool. It's chill. It's just like, well, what's going on here? And it really kind of gets you and we were all really good about not metagaming.
Yeah.
So if you're poor with
Yeah.
metagaming, don't
do
try
it.
to do this character.
Yeah, yeah.
If your group is poor with metagaming, at least. But it was so much fun to kind of see what he's trying to do and how he's trying to steer the story in his own direction
Man.
to further his character's own selfish interests.
And that can go a little off the rails too. In our pirate game, we had so many plots going on; it was hard to keep them straight at the end. I mean, everyone had like 7 different things that they were sneaking. I mean,
Yeah.
it was perfect for the setting. It was a pirate game, so
There's a lot of chaotic things.
yeah, when
happening.
everyone's like basically out for themselves, but is still working with the group for their own ends. But like the DM, I remember he was getting like a little notepad with like a secret question on it from one of the players like every 5 minutes, and then like you'd have players going off to take like smoke breaks, and in reality there's like, yeah, we're just smoking, but really they're plotting on how they're gonna steer, you know.
Oh
And
my
it
God.
was really good for the setting. I have to say, I actually really enjoyed that. I felt it added a lot to that specific game
I did enjoy running
because
that
it fit very well.
I
with
think
the,
for something like
idea.
that though, if you're gonna have a game where there's a lot of people like going off and doing their own thing, it's like it's probably better to run it in a way that doesn't have a huge overarching story.
Yeah, for sure, for
But
sure.
mine did not. So
Yeah. So, but yeah, it was actually like one thing, Joe, that I like about your DMing style is that you definitely focus more on the character
Yep.
arcs as individuals. Like the Star Wars campaign that we did, the game finished when everybody's story arc just wrapped up.
Yeah, that's really
You get
awesome.
you get
Yeah.
you get one kind of base arc, and when it gets wrapped up, then you're done, and you cooperate with the other person for their arc.
Did do that, didn't we? That was actually a really good campaign. Everybody in game got the story arc wrapped up.
And that was the only campaign I've ever finished.
Well, you were just like hellbent. It's like, no, I'm gonna finish this game.
Yes.
I want one finished game.
We do need to jump back on Ravenloft soon before everyone loses interest.
Yeah.
I try to do that. My general thing is I make the world and the antagonists, and then I have the characters come up with like I really like. Okay, so this is a cool thing you can use, actually. It's called 10-minute character creation. It's a formula someone came up with on the Wizards of Cuss forum.
And I was hoping that you're going to bring that up because I think that also works well for PCs too. If you just need to jump into something
It's for
on the fly.
PCs. It's specifically for PCs.
Oh, really?
It was just some random poster on the Wizards of Coast forums back in 2000s, early 2000s. Came up with it, and it's called 10-minute character creation. And I have to say, some of the most dynamic characters and parties I've ever played with have all come, and we used that in our first game with Oda and stuff, have all come from that, where they had a lot in the world. And basically what it is there's a few steps, right? The first thing is you think of 5 traits. And now traits are quirks of your personality, food you enjoy, things you dress, and you try and keep those in your head. So that's the first thing. You come up with 5 quirks. And that's the simplest. I mean, most people already have those kind of automatically when they sit down to make a character. And then the next thing is where in my opinion it starts to get very interesting is you have to know 3 characters, right? Now, 2 characters, they all have to be alive, so they're all people who exist, right? But what makes it interesting is one of the characters, and it's a really interesting dynamic because you don't normally think along these lines, is someone who does not like you, but will help you anyway. And at first it's like,
I loved
it's like, well, that makes no sense. But if you think about it, it makes perfect sense, right? Maybe you have an employee who hates your guts.
Maybe you have a father who's disappointed in you because
Yes.
he drinks all the time.
Yeah,
and you
You have
exactly.
a
go
sister who
party.
doesn't.
Fuck you, Galen.
doesn't
That's too
understand what's
soon.
wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
So
that
it's-
was my first fighting magic character. That
Yeah,
was
yeah.
that was
Yeah.
Riley.
Yeah.
That game was
Who-
very
what was
interesting.
My
yours?
father
What was
had
the
to do it.
person that you were in that game, weren't you?
I
Joe?
was. I don't remember. I don't think I had one because
You
I
jumped in
took
on
over an
NPC.
NPC.
You took over NPC.
Yeah.
That's right. You took
Yeah.
over Ozark. TX had one too. I can't remember what it was, but
His one was his brother who.
Oh,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
Axe T.
When,
yeah,
when we
his
show
twin
up,
brother.
can we pick up that game again? I so want to play Eric's twin brother
yeah.
in that game.
And then optionally, you can also have a rival if you want. It can be a deadly enemy or like a friendly rival. But just the 2 people you know from your past that will help you is the thing. So not necessarily with money.
2 friends.
But 2 friends, and then one person who is not your friend, but for whatever reason will still aid you.
Frenemy.
Yeah, a
That's the
friend of
term.
me, and think of that as really good. And then the next step is you think of a secret that you keep, right? And then a secret kept from you, which adds a lot. The secret you keep is something your character knows about something that he doesn't share for some reason, right? And then the secret that's kept from you is something that you know as a player about your character that you tell the DM. This also can act as a plot hook for the DM that you as a player know about your character, and it can be very specific or even very vague. That the DM, all this stuff is giving the DM tools to work with. right?
Mm-hmm.
Like all this stuff's giving him tools to work with. And then the last thing is just 3 memories from your character's past, and they can be no big deal, or they can be a huge moment. It's just 3 things that your character remembers occasionally, you know. It could be something like, I remember my mom's apple pie, you know, and even that for a good DM can be like a plot hook.
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
absolutely. And I completely forgot about that thing. I was thinking of the 3D NPC, which works for NPCs. but
3D
that-
NPC is
yeah.
great for NPCs.
But that's actually kind of dovetailed into what I was hoping to discuss for what makes a good character is just enough backstory.
Yeah.
You want enough where you can play with and kind of develop in game, but you don't want the epic tome or the epic poem about your exploits
Oh yeah.
or
Yeah.
the genealogy of
Yeah.
your family tree or things like that, which you've ever gotten as a DM. Oh my God. Oh,
Yeah.
it's so bad.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, it's kind of, it's nuts.
Yep.
Like, oh, they put a lot of thought into it.
Yeah.
But that becomes such a Mary Sue, which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
horrible.
100% of the time. Yeah, generally, if you want to work with your DM and you want to, you know, really have something you can work with as a player too, your whole character background in terms of story and narrative should be able to be read in bullet points. Like
Yeah.
that's
Perfect, exactly.
that's the reality.
And one reason why that's better as a player is that depending on how long the campaign lasts,
Yep.
the character is going to develop as they go.
Exactly.
If
yeah.
you're if you know how characters generally kind of work, the ideal is actually they take on a life of their own
Yeah.
rather than you just kind of puppeteering their way around, which
Yeah.
is of course is something that would happen with beginners, and no one's blaming you if you do that.
I totally am. Bad fire.
Joe is
There's
judging.
so much resource out there. If you are doing that, I'm also blaming you.
It's a newbie mistake.
It's-
If you're fairly experienced, absolutely, I judge you. But
You were a newbie too, and that never happened to you.
Well, that's just because she got lucky with.
I got-
a good party.
I got
Okay,
lucky
well.
with Oda. Also, I had experience with play-by-posts.
Yeah, yeah. And play by post is really, really. I mean, you have to be committed. I played play by post back in the day. Some of my favorite games were play by post games, but you have to be committed if you're playing a play by post game because,
Yep.
like, you know, one fucking round of play by post generally don't have a lot of combat in them because one round of combat, if you're actually doing the
It
mechanics,
take a
like,
week.
a week takes 6 months, man. Like if it's a big battle, you know,
It's-
to work through 2 minutes of game time. So
And yet
yeah.
it's so rewarding when you
It
wrap
is.
something up.
Well, just because people who generally play by post write, you know, basically good fiction at that point.
Yeah.
One thing I was gonna say, you're talking about NPCs. You brought up 3D NPC. That's a great thing for DMs, and you can use it as a player too. But I just want to put it out there. Look it up if you get the chance. It's called 3D NPC. I think it was Mike. What's the
Mike Merles. It's one of
Mike
the big,
Merles?
Yeah,
Yeah,
one of the big D&D,
yeah.
D&D
Mike
guys.
Merles put it out there. It's basically how he develops kind of like throwaway NPCs. And then so they're ready to become big NPCs if they need to be, which is just
Ozark.
when he comes up with an NPC, it's just name. You think of a voice or they have. You think of a characteristic tick they have, and then you think of a layer. And a layer can be anything from a secret they have to like hates hobbits or thinks all dwarves are men. You know, like something like that.
And if you need to, and again, if you want to make a character super quick, do that. They'll be
Yeah,
fine. If
yeah.
if the other thing sounds too daunting, that is enough to get you
Yeah.
in and rolling in the game.
I do highly recommend the 10 minute.
Oh, I do too. Yeah.
Especially because if you
Yeah.
actually go to the original post,
Mhm.
people have at this point there's like probably like 7,000 characters people have come up using that system.
Mhm.
So it's
It is
there's a
very cool.
lot of brain food there too.
So
Yeah.
for rule number 4, suggestion number 4 is
Bullet points.
bullet points.
Yeah,
So
Bullet
Well,
point
number-
background.
Yeah, bullet,
bullet
point your
point
background. Yeah.
Or think of it Goldilocks and Three Bear just right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it could be fun to come up with a background, but it's especially when you're making a new character, it's just so important to be able to accept that it's going to be fluid.
Yep.
Like when I first made Oda, because she was my first character, I'm just going to reference her a lot in this.
Yeah.
Is she had a fairly boring backstory because I wasn't entirely sure what to do about it.
Yeah, it ended up being great though. I mean, like
It ended up working
pretty
out
much
fine,
almost
yeah.
all of her family ended up in the campaign at one point or another.
Almost
a lot
of
of
her
the
life.
Oh
my God, it's Oda! Oda, it's so good to see you. This is Grandpa. It's been a while. How are you doing? Oh my God, you're so thin. If only Eric was here to play Grandma. I just want to say I've been missing you so much.
Man,
How is your man? Is he doing well? That elf, I don't usually appreciate of interracial marriages, but I will make an exception. He's a noble. You know what that means. Remember,
I believe
my
actually
finances are
even,
dying.
even a few players during that game, during that specific campaign, I believe there were a few people who had people in their backgrounds end up dying, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember who? I swear there was one.
I know Oda's family was threatened with death.
That was mine. Thank you very much.
Oh, that was course.
Yes, I remember this. So I take over the NPC, which sounded like a fantastic thing. It's like, wow, that's what exactly would play in his world anyways.
I did that in your game too. I took over an NPC.
You might have, yeah.
Yeah, Nisk was originally a human. I'm just like, oh,
yeah.
play a Trandoshan.
Oh,
she was
yeah.
my NPC.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
Anyways, sorry.
So you make me do the 10-minute NPC, right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, what are people's life? He has a serious significant other that works at a bar
that's
wench
right.
Oh no! I remember
at
this.
a town that is currently being besieged by goblinoids.
Yep.
So we go there, and that was very fantastic the way you did it.
Yeah.
He
so
just like rolls
sad.
behind. It's like, okay, is she alive or dead? I don't know. So my goal as a character is I'm supposed to infiltrate the rest of the players into the town and kind of scout things out. That's who I'm. I'm working like with a ranger kind of organization. But for me, I need to find out if my significant other is alive or not. So go in the tavern, right, where she used to work. Go in there. He describes it being dark, and there's all these goblins just
Passed out.
from all the gorging and
Yeah.
alcohol.
hedonism.
And there's like, there's just goblins and what can I think of it? Hobgoblins and bugbears all around the city, right?
Yeah.
But it's like a big party. There's bonfires everywhere, so it's kind of easy to sneak around. Go in there, sneaking over things. Eric's character stalking me, and he like manages to snap the neck of a goblin that I accidentally wake up. And I go down in the
Rogues.
cellar where I suspect that she's hidden. It's dark. As there's like, so you take out a flint and steel, strike
I
a
remember
light.
this now.
You see like a little glimmer
Oh,
of her
man.
locket.
It was so sad.
Yeah.
Her shimmer. It's like, that's gonna be your locket. Is it? I don't know. I strike it again. You see it shimmer again. I go down. I feel around for the body. It's wet. Like what kind of wet? Like thick blood wet. Do it again. Is it her? You can't tell. The face is mangled. Do it again. Pick up the locket. It's her locket.
Yep.
What do? Eric's character behind me is just like, hey, what silvers did you find? Get out now. Okay, fine.
Get out.
And then I firebomb the tavern after pouring alcohol over the
does.
place and walk away without looking at the explosion because I was that big of a badass. That's one of my favorite RP moments.
Actually, I remember.
Ozark was a
You
badass.
did do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That was really good. But if you remember, you while you did walk away from the explosion, it did set the whole town on edge.
And that was
And
totally
it turned
fine.
into a
'cause-
chaotic. Yeah,
Yeah, he
but it was
didn't
really
really
good.
care.
It was
no,
really good.
I had to do
Yeah.
that because,
That-
those things murdered my woman.
That
so
became a
it's-
huge part of the game, and it wasn't planned. And that's the advantage of doing these like bulletproof backgrounds that are fluid, because
Yeah.
you can have moments like that.
So my character became super vengeful. He was already kind of hating of these goblinoids to begin with.
Yeah.
But even more so. So that became a
Whatever
huge
happened to
thing.
goblins? Didn't they get pretty much fucking wiped out during the beginning arcs of that game? I remember.
We came across a lot of goblin hordes. That was a big goblin massacre that we
Yeah.
took part in, but specifically with Derek's character hating goblins, and now Joe's character hates goblins.
I just
So,
I
lots
just
of goblin
swore
hate.
that you broke the goblin horde at some point. Or
We
like-
did.
We
did.
escaped from it, but we fucked them up big. I think we
Yeah,
screwed them up in the
We
Underdark.
came back.
Yeah,
we
because
came
they were
back.
The
to it.
Underdark in the
Yeah.
Underdark. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we broke it in. The
That's right. They
Underdark.
were marching in the Underdark,
And we stopped them,
you
which
did
was
something.
fun.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
again,
that's
kudos to
that's
that.
what
There was a lot of things that were long-term planned out and took a lot of sessions to get there. Well,
I
maybe
didn't
not.
play
but-
anything.
But as far as the story went, I mean,
Yeah.
there was obviously things set in motion, especially told me the things behind the scenes.
Yeah, there was one thing set in motion, which I had one main antagonist that had specific goals,
Mm-hmm.
and then I had all
And I
the
called it
elements.
like 2
Yeah,
weeks in, and
yeah.
Ezra tried to convince everybody that wasn't the case.
And
He
it
did
was-
a
and it was
great
successful.
job. He did a
I was
great
still like,
job.
no,
I
he
was
bad
moderately
guy.
successful.
He's the bad guy.
Yeah.
But,
Oh
like, you
no,
didn't know
man!
that,
I
so-
took him for like the most truthful person.
Yeah.
He's so nice.
He's so nice. Yeah.
So yeah, that
Yep.
was definitely a fun campaign. I would totally want to pick that up again.
I would
once
really pick
ever,
that up
It was
Some point
interesting,
back.
and
Or
again,
Eric.
keeping characters flexible. It's like I remember in that campaign, I know my character Oda was never originally like very family oriented,
Yeah.
but because all of her family ended up being part of the thing,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
she's now very family oriented.
you don't love Grandpa? Come on.
No, it was interesting because I never thought about it, but then as the game went on, it's like,
Yeah, and
oh,
now-
she actually loves her family dearly, which
Yeah.
is why she kind of keeps things from them because
yeah.
she's the family
So,
fuck up.
something you really never thought of became crucial to the actual character and made it a character, really.
And
I mean,
speaking of kind of going off of those two conversations, one thing that I think makes entertaining characters is their relationships with the other party members.
yeah.
I
if
was
you
just
do it
gonna say
well,
that,
If
yeah.
you do it well.
Yeah. I love having the relationship with TX. I loved it.
No,
No,
Oh,
it was
man.
great because
Push me
everybody
off
had-
the magic carpet, fall 40 feet to the ground.
And then he doesn't push off the gnome, so they have some weird rapport
Yeah,
going.
yeah.
oh yeah,
exactly.
the carpet of feelings.
The carpet
yeah.
of feelings, and it was great.
yeah. Yeah, definitely having characters who like, and this is really happening pretty hardcore in our Ravenloft game right now too. But it does generally develop naturally. But people who really, when players can really run with it, it becomes very fun for a DM as well. When characters have relationships, like, you know, every character dislikes one other character in the party for some reason, you know, but they still all have to work together because, you know, it's just like a personal pet peeve or something like that. That can end up really well. It could drag the game on though if someone tries to be too controlling. This generally happens when you see with super lawful characters, you know, who
Yeah.
you know, like take it too far. You should always be conscious that you are playing a game with other people, and so you
Yeah.
shouldn't be like, you know, trying to force everyone to toe the line.
Which is kind of why it's important to embrace evolving relationships within the party.
Yeah.
Unless
'Cause, like-
unless it's in Shadowrun, Dr. Orc push the party to the good side.
Yeah.
Oh
was
yeah.
great.
Well, even then, he didn't push you. It was no force, though. I mean, it was persuasion, right? You should.
Yeah,
it should
yeah.
Be. It should
It
always
was
be.
more of a
should
big
always be-
shift
yeah,
than
yeah,
force.
yeah.
Just be persuasive. Shadowrun characters are all really interesting automatically. You don't even have to do anything. Just the character creation, you know, is enough where you get a lot of meat to work with.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I definitely agree. It's good to have relations, and they don't have to be like familiar relations with the other players, but
One thing I say, the nice thing about Shadowrun 2 is the bullet point in Shadowrun for everyone is pretty much always the same. You all don't have any rights. You're all poor. You're all trying to, you know, make it big, and you can't do it the normal way because the game is rigged. Like, that's the
is kinda
same
nice about
bullet point
Shadowrun.
for everybody, you know.
It's like
What were you
life
s-
sucks. You're trying to make it better.
Yeah, what were you saying, Joe?
but anyways, to confer with Les or agree with her is another thing that makes really good characters is having relations with the other player characters involved. Now, this could be where you know them in the past and you have a personal history with them, or you, and I think I've mentioned this in previous podcasts, where you build your characters in tandem so there is a back and forth going
Yeah.
on.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Oh, but I love meeting new
Like, for
friends
instance,
in a parlor.
Like
that works
like
too.
The thing is, that can evoke like very interesting relationships as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Of course.
Just being the new guy on the block.
Yeah, I was just joking because everyone starts their campaign. Everyone
I
starts in
think-
an inn.
I actually think that's starting to become a trope, and it's becoming less and less true. Because
Yes, it's a
because, like,
huge trope.
I almost want to bring it back just because, you know.
No, I like starting in a tavern too. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
bad. It's kind of nostalgic. But
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
you can start in tavern, but when you build your characters in a group and you know
Yeah.
Yeah.
what you know that you're going to work together, but you might have a quirk or disagreement, something that can be fun. Like with the campaign that we've been talking about, I really like the dynamic between Osark and Tiax. Because I realized, I think I had suspicions fairly early on with some things that you gave me cues in game.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
Because you are so perceptive. That's like what Ozark
Yes,
was.
He was Super Ranger, by the
Yeah.
way. Ozark was a Super Ranger.
Anyway,
I was just super slow.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Ozark speed right there.
Initiative.
as far as initiative goes,
Anyway, what you were saying though?
that was kind of fun because I recognized that he was very selfish and that he maybe had some other motivations going on other than for the good of the group. But I also recognized his abilities, so it was one of those
Yeah.
things where
Yeah.
kept him along.
Yeah, it's
and people
like-
ask me what's your opinions on him. I don't trust him, but he is valuable.
Yeah,
we need
yeah,
him.
yeah.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
and that made a nice dynamic going back and forth.
It really came back into the game later too when TX went a bridge too far and the party, with the player's permission, of course, tied him to a chair and beat him half to death.
That was fun.
That was
I-
part of
I
that was a
enjoyed
misunderstanding, but he kind of had it coming by that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
It was-
artwork for that. Hey, for the podcast, we can put up that artwork.
Yeah, they have
Yeah.
those artwork. Oh god, it's like 2 or 3 years old. Oh my god, it's old. So, as any artist would understand, old artwork is the bane of our existence. But I will totally allow it to be put up on the podcast
Yes.
for reference.
Yes.
Yeah, we should do that.
So, bullet point 5, since we're talking about bullet points for good character, is have entertaining, or not entertaining, that's redundant, have interesting relations with the other player characters at the table.
Yeah, yeah.
So-
And a lot of those will develop too. But if
Your
you build
character
a
doesn't
character,
exist within a vacuum.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
kind of the thing.
Yeah. yeah. And granted, we're talking, of course, in this sense, I mean, because we mainly are narrative gamers, so we generally talk towards narrative. I mean, if you're playing a dungeon crawl where it's like go to the Mountain of Doom, go through the 30 rooms, get the treasure.
Oh yeah, take none of this advice. You
Take-
want to
you-
min-max the shit out of your
yeah,
character.
yeah.
If you're a fighter, you want 18 strength, 18 constitution,
Yeah,
nothing else.
Yeah, yeah.
That's simple.
We're
Yeah.
obviously talking more narrative-based games, a lot of intrigue, which I think is honestly what's drawing. And one of the reasons I think D&D is getting bigger is because people can now seen that like that stuff's possible in a fantasy setting. Like, you know, you take Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah, and that's the
Thank
best
Or the
thing about
new
Game of
Hobbit
Thrones.
movies was really when the resurgence began. Was when those new Hobbit movies came out. All of a
Yeah.
sudden, people started picking up D&D again. Because people forget. I mean, like, yeah, it was like the nerd thing during the like fucking 80s or whatever
Yeah.
it was, right? But when
But
D&D
that's when it was cool and dark and edgy.
no,
They
no, no.
didn't-
But before that, when D&D first came out, everyone did it. Like literally everybody.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, everybody. Cops,
It was the video
firemen.
games of the 70s.
It's the video games. Yeah, it was the video games. Everyone did it. It only got a bad rap because the whole moral majority fucking under.
Chick flicks.
Was it Reagan? I
No,
can't
not
remember.
chick flicks. Chick tracks.
Chick tracks.
Chick
there
tracks.
we go.
Yes.
I thought it was. Yeah, I thought
Chick
it was,
flicks are bad movies.
Yeah.
Well, no, it was like chick flicks because somebody made movies out of the chick tracks.
Yeah.
That's what I
did
was
we
thinking.
watch that here?
We watched part of one because it's actually kind of hard to find online.
Oh man, it's what like
It was
Dark
like Dark
Dungeon,
Dungeons
yeah,
or something.
Yeah.
which is a spoof based on.
I thought it was
the-
Monsters and Madness or something like that.
No, that is
Maybe
a Tom
there's-
Hanks movie.
That's the Tom Hanks.
Around the same thing. His
That's
the
first
same
role
thing,
ever.
yeah, yeah.
He plays D&D in sewers and slays hobos because he's so insane from it.
sounds
It is
amazing.
fantastic.
Wow. That sounds
Should
beautiful.
Mystery Theater that at some point.
Yes, but Dark Dungeons is takes this chick track, which is a comic that exposes the evils of Dungeons
We should do
and
that next
Dragons.
time. We should figure out some way we can hook up the mics, watch the movie,
Ooh.
And then riff.
and straight Mystery Theater the shit out of it. That would be a lot of fun.
Oh, that would be fantastic. And it is they play it to a T, so it comes off as such a glorious satire. Oh
It's
my
great
God, is it
because
good.
the guy who actually made the chick track, he endorsed it. And he was just like, "Yes, this is something that seriously needs to be like
Isn't his
presented
name
to
Jack
the youth."
Chick?
His name is
yeah.
Jack Chick.
Jack
Yes.
Chick.
Why are all the assholes trying to take away video games and fun shit named Jack? Right? Because there's Jack Chick,
Yeah.
and there was the Grand Theft Auto guy. His name's Jack something or other. You know, and I think there's some SJW cunt who's fucking named Jack too.
Jacqueline. Let's be fair.
Yeah. Okay.
Be Jacqueline.
Good
let's-
point. What is it about that name that breeds assholes who hate fun? That's
'Cause
all I'm
nobody
asking.
likes Jonathan.
Yeah. But no, I'd recommend that little film. It's probably about 40 minutes, and they just play it to a T. It's so
it's funny
earnest
because
in
it was
how
like
it's trying to
the
represent
comic is so serious, but when it's put to like an actual screen, it is so tongue in cheek. They take it so seriously, and they're very mindful of this. They take it so seriously that it's hilarious,
Yeah.
and you can't take it seriously anymore.
Are you ready to RPG?
So fucking cringeworthy, man.
It is so
Cringy
insane.
shit
Yeah.
ever.
So, I got another question.
Shoot.
What would be a good example of a fun character play for anybody at the table?
That is so subjective.
It is.
It's too subjective, I would say. I'd
That
say
doesn't
if,
hurt
if,
to give
if,
insight.
If you're,
Well, you know
I'll
what
let
I
you know.
mean.
if you're
Well,
totally
like-
brain dead about it and you can't think of anything, just roll some shit. Like find some tables online
Yeah.
for background, hair color, eye color, class, race, and just roll some dice and be like, okay, I'm an elf sorcerer with the merchant background. All right, so now figure out why you have all those things. Bam.
Okay, so what I meant was, what's a good source? Like, I love
The internet.
5.0's random roll generator. I love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And
The reality is those random generators are actually in pretty much every RPG. Your best source 9% of the time is literally just come on, man. We live in the age of Google. Go on internet, go like random tables or help me make my character or character ideas. Shit. Go to any. Are you playing Shadowrun? Go to the Shadowrun subreddit and be like, I've never played this game before. I'd like some ideas. Tell me about the world. I
And-
mean, there's a lot of tools when it comes to RP now, way more than there was even just 5-10 years ago.
Yeah.
And that actually makes a good point. I mean, there are so many resources out there. Either just other people have posted their characters that they've enjoyed online, or maybe just, online fiction that you've read, or just suggestions for characters. That the resources are pretty much limitless, which I think will dovetail into another good point for maybe bullet point 6 here. And that is borrow what you can, blatantly steal what you can't. To borrow from Mark Twain. You're welcome. And just take some. If you find an idea, wow, that's awesome. If you enjoy it, other people enjoy it too.
I had that experience just when we were making our Deadlands character. I mean, I made a very interesting character, but Deadlands is like a steampunk
Steampunk
Western
Civil War
horror setting,
with
right?
ghost rocks.
With ghost rocks and magic and all that jazz. And one of the players, Galen, is playing a character who's just straight up he's just a cowboy who fights dirty. And thinking about all of the opportunities, especially because we're using the Cypher system, where you could like play with that narratively and just be like total like Clint Eastwood type characters. Like, man, I wish I'd thought of that. But I was trying to be something unique. I should just gone with the like tried and true,
no,
What would
that's-
have been funny?
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
see, that's going to be total fun, and we can share that since we mentioned that just now about building characters together. So Ezra and I were going to be both in this game, along with
Yeah.
Caitlin and Liz. But he's like, hey, Joe, I want to be your Sancho Panza to your Don Quixote. And I said yes.
Yeah,
Because that idea is fantastic. So he is
Will you
gonna
be the Kato to my Green Hornet?
Yeah.
and that is totally it. I'm kind of playing this hapless, smart but yet hapless card shark, and he is playing my manservant, who
is
just
actually a deep state undercover for the Chinese government,
Yeah.
trying to find like trying to find Ghost Rock to bring back to China.
yeah, and
But-
I'm
but,
so looking
but I just
forward
pretend
to
to
that.
be the laundryman so I don't get lynched. It is the Wild Wild West. In the
yeah, and
1800s.
it's gonna be so
Yep.
much fun when we actually get a chance to play it. I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to that.
yeah,
Yep, it's and that's kind of an example of characters almost intentionally having a relationship.
Yeah, no, that was totally.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
almost.
absolutely intentionally. So on the flip side of that, Ellie and Ellie is not here at the moment, but her character is this mountain woman who can talk to the dead, and she's like keeps the bones of her brother so she can talk to her brother
And if
doesn't
you,
realize what she's doing.
and if you listen to her last podcast, yes,
You would
Ellie's-
know who that is. She's playing this character again.
Was your Fiasco game in a medieval setting?
No,
No,
it was,
it
in,
was
the
in the
Wild
West.
West.
Oh wow, that's perfect.
Yeah,
hilarious.
that's why she brought it up.
That's funny.
Yeah.
But then so I ended up playing a character who is a Native American monster slayer. And so
And she and you arrived to just make clear. Liz arrived at the idea for her character completely independent of what Ellie was doing.
yeah. So Ellie had just cherry picked this character out of Fiasco because she's enjoyed it. And I'm just like, I want to be a monster slayer. The Native Americans are in this? Cool. I'll do that.
Yeah.
Because monsters are very low key in Deadlands and not a lot of people know that they're even a thing.
Yeah.
So, and then suddenly, due to our characters' backstories, now my character is tailing Ellie's character because she keeps haplessly creating poltergeists.
Yeah.
And now
And
I
she
don't know
speaks
what
to
to
the
do
dad.
with her because it's like, you don't know what you're doing. You're an innocent girl and you're a problem, but I can't really kill you because you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. And you don't kill innocent people.
Yeah.
And then that's part of your character, because because there are certainly characters that exist in the world of narration who would be like, I do not care, you're an innocent girl, you're summoning ghosts, I'm gonna burn you. But in your character's case, that's not true, so it makes sense you could follow that. If you wanted to, you could follow that line even logic and be like, that is now something that exists for the character if you wanted to, where they just don't like take innocent life and they just highly discourage it for any reason.
It's like, all I kill are monsters.
Yeah.
This isn't a monster.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah,
a
you
dumb
could
person.
you could straight take the line. I don't shoot people. What do you mean you don't shoot people? You've got a rifle.
Yeah.
That's for hunting.
Yeah, and that could be kind of fun and add a
Yep.
little bit of quirk for it.
Yeah.
In the gunfight. Shoot them!
But I have a knife.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it'll be interesting how
I can't
how this
kill
all
them.
pans out.
Leg them.
yeah. Wing them, do something.
I'm just gonna challenge people to fisticuffs and then just pull out my guns. That's like,
That is super dirty cowboy. I approve.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So-
We're all about to have a lot of fun with this Deadlands game.
It should be.
That's the gist of this
It should be
conversation.
good.
Put your guns over there. Put them over there. I put mine over there. Then pull out a fucking hold
You have
out.
a boot knife, though. I think that's
He has a
kind of
boot
thing.
knife. He
I
has
got
a
a boot
derringer.
knife.
He's got half a stick of dynamite shoved up his ass. I mean, he's geared to go, man. He's got everything. I wish I'd thought of it.
Well, if
Pocket
Ben,
bear.
oh man.
I want that to be a thing.
So Pocket Bear is an
Basically, a
impromptu.
rat you throw at people.
Yes, exactly.
It's just a fat, big rat that I just
Surprise.
hold into my
Bet you've never
duster.
seen this before.
Think of it as a miniature giant space hamster along those lines. Pocket Bear coming to a store near you.
Lightning bolt, sand in the face.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be a lightning bolt.
Pocket sand. I'm
Oh,
gonna have
there- that's
all
what I
the
was
pocket
thinking.
Sand.
So I guess what's the most interesting character that you've seen? This is looking somewhere wrap up. What's the character that's interesting that you've experienced personally that became interesting or it surprised you? Like at first you thought conceptually like that's kind of fucking boring, but it was played in a way where
Oh, you want to know mine?
Yeah.
T-Ax. I thought he was just going to be a basic rogue, and then he fucked up the party and the
Yeah.
story and everything. It was great.
yeah, that's kind of a player quirk though. If you play with Roger or Eric enough.
Oh yes,
do
that
that.
that is their
They
thing.
do that.
Oh, Roger. Oh, the Raminator. Oh, man.
I keep threatening Joe that one day I'm gonna make him DM a game for me, Eric, and Roger at the same time.
I pass. Well,
you
actually,
kidding?
no. I'll take that. That would be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Here's what's gonna happen. Okay, I have my script. Crumple, crumple, crumple. What's happening, guys? How are you fucking up my plans now?
It's great because Joe is threatening me with being the door kicker in a mystery intrigue game.
Yes.
He's like,
and
by the way, just warning you, I'm going to start a lot of fights.
Yeah.
I'm all,
Yeah.
God damn it.
I know I'm going to play a redneck in that game, and I'm going to kick down so many doors. One of my little bullet points that I made for that was punch first, because he's not a killer, but punch first, question later. So I will be punching all of the things. You are welcome.
Awesome.
Yep.
I just do the laundry.
Yep. So TX, what about you guys? What was like a character that?
Ooh, it's kind of hard to say because at this point I've played so many.
I thought everyone could play. I can think of one actually. A buddy of mine. We did as an experiment. 5th edition had just come out, and we basically rolled our characters randomly. Everything. We rolled their stats, race. You could put the numbers where you wanted because otherwise you'd be stuck with like shitty things. But you had random stats, and then your class, race, and background were all random. And he ended up with a like human ranger, which is extremely easy to twink and make really pretty strong out the gate. And he's always disliked rangers as just a personal thing, right? He's like, I don't want to play. It's like you committed already. You've got to play it. And then the last thing he rolled merchant. And so he was imagining Aragorn in his head. He's like, I don't want to play Aragorn. And then he rolled merchant as his background, and he just turned that. He instead of being like a human ranger merchant, he was just a merchant. You know, he happened to have ranger abilities, but really, like, it was all about like the whole game just became about him like getting shit to put in his cart to take to market to sell.
Yeah, I think it was on that note, and I just remembered it now, which was kind of a fun character to see. When I think it was you, Eric, Roger. Was that it? Yeah, maybe we did do the one shot, and it just didn't go anywhere.
Oh, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, it was kind of like a Halloween themed campaign. But you guys did a quick random roll, and Roger rolled up a gnome paladin
Oh, with
who
the
was like
zombies.
a hermit, huh?
With the zombies, right? That
Yeah,
was
with the
fat
zombies.
dragonborn.
That's adorable.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
fat dragonborn cleric.
Which is like, oh, that's gonna be interesting. How will he play it? And it was actually very fun to see because he was, hey guys, I'm a gnome, and he went for the zealot paladin. So he would like drop his helmet, and his voice changed, and he like spoke into a can. That was really fun to see.
That's pretty great.
Yeah.
I still can't think of anything.
Well, it's fine. You don't have
Yeah.
to think of anything.
No, you don't have to participate. It's okay. It's all right.
I guess
There's been a lot.
I guess off the top of my head, the character I've been most surprised by was that tiefling wizard I random rolled.
Oh yeah. She was good. Sarissa, right?
Sarissa, yeah.
Yeah. That was a good.
Does she
character.
explain it all? Does anybody get my reference? No. You guys.
I get the reference.
Oh, thank you. And you're
Hey.
the youngest one in the group. I'm so
I
sad.
don't even know what the fuck you're talking about.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I grew up.
Yay!
So one of the reasons that I am such an experienced D&D player and have played many years and years and years of D&D is I didn't have fucking electricity until I was like 17. So
Well, brag, why don't you? Jeez.
All that dedication because you had nothing else.
So instead of pop culture references, I get to be a decent storyteller, which it's a decent trade.
I'll give you that.
Pretty good trade-off.
It's a good trade-off for us because we need a good DM.
I'm not that good. I'm okay.
Lies.
Dan is really good. Is the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I can't hardly wait to play that.
And
game.
now we're gonna
Finally.
find this out.
Finally.
I'm gonna be super judgy during the
Finally.
whole.
That's okay.
campaign.
I told
he
him
better
that.
be good after
Are you kidding?
everyone.
I'm going to be
hyping him up.
taking notes because I'm a first-time DM with the Dresden Files game.
Yeah, do that. Eric needs to take notes, man. He if you hear this, Eric, I love you, bro, but don't start a game by putting the party on fucking rails for 40 minutes. Don't do that, man. That's a big no-no. We'll talk about running games
Yeah.
next time. That'll be the next one.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that
that'd
is
be
a good
fun.
one. Ooh, I like it.
We
Good.
have three different experiences. Brand fucking new,
Yeah.
fairly experienced,
Very
most experienced.
Yeah.
Medium experience.
Yeah.
No, that's how to run a good game. I like that. That would be a good topic.
Not necessarily how to run, but like tricks to avoid. I mean, every group's different.
Oh,
but
yeah,
there's,
but
there's
there's
definitely
definitely
good
some
advice that can be passed
pitfalls
along.
to fall into there.
Yeah.
That actually
That would
be
actually
very,
be a good time next time.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
have
yeah,
to
yeah,
stop
yeah,
now.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
So.
So we can wrap up.
So
yeah.
next time on Honor
Yeah,
Gaming
running
podcast,
game.
we'll talk
Running a
about
game.
running games.
And troubleshooting.
And troubleshooting. Yes.
I get to be the straw man.
Yay!
So with that, have a good time playing your games, and we'll
evening.
see you next time on Honor Gaming Podcast. Podcast.
pasta! Honor against pasta!
I'm just really hungry.
He's also Italian, so it makes so much sense.
And he is also super fat and covered with Cheeto dust. I'm talking about you, grandson.
And with that, have a good one.
I'm not
See you
sure.
next time
Bye.
on Honor Gaming Podcast.